young kids out here that's pulling triggers and shooting and doing drive-bys and all that, you going to get caught, whether it be today or tomorrow. Good morning, team. Welcome to Tamika's Story Time. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. Give me thumbs up, hit the subscription button so that you'll know when the next video is coming. Today I'm going to speak on a beloved Sharika Adams. Sharika Adams was a young woman who was cut down because, again, like I said in my last video with Latoya Figueroa wanting to keep her baby and was cut down short by her boyfriend, this young lady met the same demise, but just in a different state and a different year, which was 6 years prior, 1999. Sharika Adams was cut down, and Latoya Figueroa was 2005. So we talking 6 years before Latoya Figueroa was cut down. Sharika Adams was gunned down. And this is the backdrop of that particular story. Sharika Adams was a 24-year-old ambitious woman. Mind you, she was a woman who had her mind and her ambition set forward to be a realtor, a broker, okay? And South Carolina, where she was born and raised. However, she ran into her Prince Charming boyfriend at a pool party. And this wasn't no ordinary Prince Charming. This guy was well known. Okay, he was a football player. Yeah, he played for the Carolina Panthers. And unfortunately, he was out on an injury. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say, excuse me, give me a moment. I'm going to drink my tea. Like I tell you, I have to have my tea, which is ginger, lemon, and do not forget Live Good Super Greens. If you don't have them, I encourage you to get them. Whole body cleanse. One moment. So, thank you. This young lady met this man at a pool party, and she captured his eye. So, they begin to date. And in the process of them dating, we all know what happens. They got together, two consenting adults got together, and she became pregnant. Okay, we're going to go skip through all the in-betweens, but we just going to get to the main course of the subject. She became pregnant. And he already having a child and having to pay child support. Financial difficulties was in his present life at that time, because he was out. He wasn't playing. He made bad investments. His money was running short. And this man started getting scared of the fact of paying child support for another child. Okay? So this man, in his mind, to alleviate the problem, I'm going to slow back, go back a little bit. This man, in his thought process, wanted to alleviate the problem. Okay? So he tried to encourage her to get an abortion, but she was adamant that she wanted to keep her baby, okay? And then he distanced himself from her. To resurface as the months went on, and it's getting closer and closer, this woman decided she's going to keep the baby. This man's fear and concerns of his financial stability intensified. So this man made a decision that he wanted to find somebody to get rid of her and this baby. Okay. So the actual guy who he kept approaching to get rid of to do the job, this man really did not want to be no parts of it. He really didn't want to do it. And he kept he kept putting everything in front of this guy who approached him to say, look, man, leave me alone about it. Leave me alone. You know, he was a dude that did his thing. He had his own business going on. Yeah, he was a tough guy, but he wasn't seeking out to murder no baby or no young woman. He made that clear. He just did not want any parts of this guy. But this guy kept coming, like bringing up the just resurfacing with the proposition of hiring this guy. Not to give him a pass, because everybody makes their own decisions. However, he made it clear he really didn't want no parts of it. And he even showed up. What hitman shows up without a gun? He showed up the day that he was supposed to do it without the weapon. So you would think that would be a time to God giving you a break, push those brakes and say, okay, everything, this man had tried 3 different times to approach a person about getting ready to, and all fell. So he invited her over to his place to go and watch a movie, to go catch a movie, trying to finesse her. He went to her Lamaze class. This is how he surfaced back in her life. Oh, I want to see you. I want to be a part of this process. I missed so much of your early process. So you're going to your Lamaze class. You know, just finessed her on this whole situation with the pregnancy to gain her trust. And once she was there, she felt a little unease because he was on a phone. And she called her mother and she said, I think he's talking to a girl. And her mother told her, you get out of there. And just as she was getting up to leave, he came and, oh, no, we're getting ready to go. And took her to the movies in 2 separate cars. She drove her vehicle and he drove his. This is what happened. She drives back to his place and he says, oh, follow me to go. No, the backtrack. They didn't even get to the movies yet. She's still following him behind his vehicle. And in the process of following him in his vehicle, a car pulled up beside her and begins to shoot in her vehicle. She sees him, her boyfriend, the Prince Charming football player. He done stopped. And he watching them shoot up her car. And then once they finish, he drives off. Unbeknownst to him, this woman, Sharika Adams, was still alive. She fought for her life. Literally fought for her life. She got on the phone and called 911. And the heart-wrenching call that she made still rings in your ear. This young woman drove herself to a private residence. This is an elite in a suburban area. Onto their lawn and called 911 while she said, I've been shot. And my boyfriend, Ray Caruso, stopped the car in front of me and he left once I was shot. This woman's words echo throughout the court during the proceedings. Now, we're going to get back because I'm going to backtrack. This woman makes it to the hospital. They finally find her location where she calling from. Bear with me. And they take her to the hospital. This woman, while the cops is there, managed to write exactly what she said on the phone. I was driving, and my boyfriend, Ray Caruso, was driving in front of me, stopped the car so that I couldn't go, and the guy pulled beside me and shot me. So this girl literally was her own vindicator in her own case. She was the one who there was no left for, but unbeknownst to him, He don't know that this girl done survived. He shows up at the hospital with another girl. So her mother comes out of the hospital room thinking that she's going to give this man some information, and when she sees him there with another girl, she goes spaz out. Like, how could you? So, bottom line, the baby survived. They had to cut the baby out, C-section, via C-section, and because of the lack of oxygen that this baby sustained, didn't get insufficient oxygen from the attack. He had severe cerebral palsy, but he survived and looked just a twin to his father. Looked just like the father. However, the grandmother was happy to have her grandbaby, and they had to put Sharika Adams in a coma, induced coma, to try in efforts to try to save her life, to do the surgery and put the medication that they needed to put in her body to fight off infections. The grandmother put the baby on Sharika. This woman laid in a coma for a whole month. The mother had to make the agony, heart-wrenching decision to pull the plug on her baby girl. 24 years old, had her whole life ahead of her, had the career mind to be whatever she wanted to be, and she was determined to do that. She went to school to be a broker. She was studying to go beyond real estate. She wanted to be a real estate tycoon. And in this day and age, you can see that happening. Her being a real estate tycoon, making millions. This man was having money problems. That's why I say, people that think that you just see what's in front of you. You can't see what God can see. And when you make those rash decisions like, oh, I got to do X, Y, Z. No, you don't. Be still. You don't know what lies in the future. This could have been his key to his problems. This woman. Yet he reversed it and made it really his problem. Okay, so we're going to go on. Go on from there. Back to what I was saying. This woman made the heart-wrenching decision to pull the plug on her daughter. But before she did that, she knew how important it was for this young woman who lived and virtually died for this baby to feel her baby on her for one last time. She wrapped the baby up and she placed the baby on her chest. When she placed that baby on her chest, it was like the bells went off on the equipment. This woman's spirit embraced her infant baby who she was not able to hold before the plug was pulled, and she went on, transitioned into the afterlife to be this baby's guardian angel. This baby grew up under the love and nurturing of the grandmother, of the grandmother's love, pouring all her love and energy into this young child who her daughter gave her life to save. This woman poured all of her love and energy into this child. That this young man, them doctors told her that child will never be able to walk or talk. That young man is thriving today. Graduated from high school, walked across the daggone podium and got his high school diploma with his grandmother right there in the front, cheering him on. And guess what? He's thriving today under love. Because guess what? Love is the most powerful antidote for anything. Love. Don't ever forget it. Love. Love conquers all. Love heals all. Love is the antidote to hate and misfortune and misconduct. You can, with love, you can do anything. You can go anywhere and be anything you want to be. You dig? So don't ever forget it. Love supersedes all. However, the love of money will be your downfall. Will be the pile of bricks that come down on you. Now we go to the case. We're gonna move on to the case. This man he spent money. They locked him up, but he got bailed out for $1 million. Now you talking about he trying to save money, he losing more money. See how when you trying to hold on to something so tight, especially money, you will lose it. You will lose that which you're trying to hold on to plus more. And that's exactly what happened with him. He got locked up. He and lost all of the dignity and respect that he had, because now he's in the trunk of somebody's vehicle trying to take a 21-hour ride to the next state, peeing in a damn plastic Gatorade bottle, and they picked him up. The FBI tracked the girl that he was riding in her trunk with, tracked him down and picked him up. The case went on. The court proceedings went on. The hitman was there, and he testified. His first child's mother got on the stand and testified. Now tell me how humiliating that all of the above. Now you went from this under this fascinating light of being a superstar and somewhat of a superhero for all the NFL fans and football fans. You was a hero, and how you became the villain, and worse than a villain, a murderer, an assassinator of your own child's life. And see how the Lord works? You can't do that. You can't do that. You just don't do that. And surely you don't do it for the love of money. And that fear factor takes in. That's what fear is, the most dangerous thing. Because when fear kicks in, logic is out the door. No logic thoughts come to mind. It's just that fear factor right there. And all you can see is what you gonna lose, what you're gonna have, what you're gonna miss. If you've been poor, nobody wants to be poor, but if you've been poor and you've been born in poor, you already know what it's about. And some people say, yeah, that's why I don't want to go back. Let me tell you something. If you survived it then, you can survive it now. If you can survive being poor, you can survive anything. That's not a reflection of a lack of character. That's a reflection of your strength. And if you can only be able to survive in one element of, if life is only a certain way, that's the only way that you can survive, then you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to be let down, and you're going to always be running. So God is the source to all your problems. God is the source and the bridge to your wealth and success. Don't ever forget it. The moment you put God down, you will fail. I don't care what environment you're in. You could be sitting on top of the world, driving down Rodeo Drive, living in Casablanca, whatever. You feel me? You could be laying up in the mansion in a king size bed. Let me tell you something. Everybody that's laying up in a king size bed in the mansion ain't happy, ain't fulfilled. They would turn it all in. I heard a billionaire laying on his deathbed say, if I could give all my riches away to live just another day, to have my health, I would. I lived all my life being a wealthy man, and now I'm laying on my deathbed, and it means nothing. Guess what? He ain't had to tell me to know. I don't have to know. I don't have to experience or see things to know that, okay, it exists. Okay. Okay. I don't really necessarily need that to be happy. Happiness comes from within. If you have God, he gives you that inner peace to sustain all understanding, surpass all understanding, and sustain through anything in life that you go through. That inner peace comes from one entity, and that's God. We must hold close and hold tight to God. If you want to hold tight to anything, hold tight to God, not money. Money comes and goes. You're going to get that. You're going to lose that. That's a rotating thing. It never stops. It never stops. For some of us, it just keeps piling up, even though if you make the right investments, you do the right thing, your money will pile up. It will go out, but it will come back. It's going to come back to you. But bottom line is this. This man lost 19 years of his life. He lost the fame he once had, the glory of being famous. Now you don't want to be. Now he's famous for a different reason. It's not a glorified reason. It's the most embarrassing reason. Nobody wants to be known for that. Like, who wants to be known for that? Like, no. Nobody wants to be known for that. And then that's disruption to his family and his... No, nobody wants that. But that from that one action caused his whole world to spiral out of control. And it was from fear. That fear factor took over. And it destroyed a lot of people's lives. Even the man who pulled the trigger. I watched that trial and I seen that man, and I had more empathy towards that man who pulled the trigger than the man who hired him to do it. Now go figure that. Because the man made it clear he didn't want no parts of him. But this guy kept coming around like a nuisance. A nuisance. That don't give him it's not giving no excuse for this man. But I could see what he's saying. When a person keeps coming around and being a nuisance about something and adamant about something. And he tried everything in his power to avoid him. Anytime you come to do a hit without a gun, who does that? If you're going to do it, you're going to have the stuff to do it with. So that right there shows you where the man's head was. He wasn't in for it. Unfortunately, he let the devil get the best of him and to take over that thought process. He was an independent thinker. He should have stayed one. Because the moment that he gave in to this guy who kept being a nuisance caused him to ultimately be put in a place where he's stuck. And this guy is out. So go figure. This is for all the young kids out here that's pulling triggers and shooting and doing drive-bys and all that. You going to get caught. Whether it be today or tomorrow. You may not even get caught that day. You might think you got away with something, but you're not going to get away. I can assure you. Everybody that's sitting in jail will tell you that same story. Everybody that's in the dirt had that same understanding that you're running around with. Oh, I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to get caught. It's called karma. Like I said in the last video and all my other videos, karma is a vicious cycle. And karma has no bias on anyone. When karma comes to collect, there is no, hold up, when karma comes to collect, it collects. It's dead on. It don't make no mistakes. It's dead on. It don't retract. It goes forward. Do you understand? And if you don't understand, please, I beg of you to form a relationship with God and you'll gain that greater understanding on karma. Because it's real. As real as the oxygen you breathe. You can't see it, but it's there. Trust me when I tell you, it's there. Because you wouldn't be breathing if it wasn't. Okay? We are science, and in the scientific world, because they push science. They'll push everybody. Oh, yeah, science. Yeah, scientifically, this is this and that and this. But when it comes to biblical and God, oh, people like, oh no, don't want to offend nobody. But you don't want to offend nobody. You offending God because you don't want to offend nobody. How much sense do that make? They don't make you. They didn't make you, and they don't have control of your destiny and where you're going. But God do. But yet we'll want to not offend nobody to and offend God. Oh, he's a loving God. He'll understand. Okay. But he also say, you deny me in front of man, I will deny you in front of my Father. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You got to get into the Word. But that's another topic for another discussion. But I always like to end it with knowledge and with wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. Knowledge comes from what we know, what rotates in this world. Okay, so I gave you a little bit of both. And with that, I will continue to give you a little bit of both. I hope that this was a blessing to you and that you be a blessing to someone else. And I will continue to bless you with more. I have another story and I have many more to share with you, as well as testimonies, which I will give you too. So I say God bless until I speak again. Stick around for more of Tamika's story time. Peace.